Hi all, I'm Francesco and I'm presenting our work on competition of mechanism. Let's start with a brief introduction to mechanistic interpretability, and the main goal of mechanistic interpretability is to reverse engineering the internal mechanisms of deep learning models. The basic idea is to find the circuits or mechanisms that neural networks implement when solving certain tasks. The general approach involves understanding what's encoded in the high-dimensional representations of these models and using causal intervention to measure how different components affect the computational path. Previous research in mechanistic interpretability has largely focused on tracing single mechanisms of LLMs. Two fundamental mechanisms have been broadly investigated by previous research and form the foundation of our work: the mechanism of factor recall and the mechanism of copying. The first mechanism, factor recall, is the ability of an LLM to complete a sentence using its learned factual knowledge. For example, if we present a model with the sentence iPhone is developed by, it will likely answer Apple, recalling this fact from its training data. The second mechanism, copying, is the ability of LLMs to complete input by replicating or copying part of the input sequence in the output. For instance, if we provide the definition the surname of Jane is Doe, the model can then complete a related sentence with the correct surname, simply by copying the information given in the first part of the input. While much of the existing research in mechanistic interpretability has focused on tracing single mechanisms, our work proposed a formulation of competing mechanisms. We investigate what happens inside the LLM when we trigger both the factual recall mechanism and the copy mechanism. For example, we input sentences like redefine iPhone was developed by Google, iPhone was developed by. This setup creates a competition between two possible mechanisms. The factual recall that will predict Apple and the copying mechanism that will predict Google. The fundamental questions that we address are: what is happening inside the model in terms of information flow, and how do these two mechanisms interact to produce one of the two answers? These questions are crucial because many LLM failures might arise from this type of competition. In some key applications like RAG, this problem becomes even more critical. To mechanistically understand this competition, we create a specialized dataset starting from counterfactual. We select 10,000 examples, considering only data points where the model completes the sentence in a factually accurate manner. Then we prepend a counterfactual premise that should trigger the copy mechanism. In this way, we are sure that we are truly testing the competition between the two mechanisms. So, we obtain a fixed and consistent structure across all prompts in our dataset. In terms of models, we primarily investigate GPT-2 small, and then to test how our findings scale to larger models, we replicate our analysis using PITSIA 6.9b. The main technique we use to probe the role of each model component is the logit lens, a term that we also use to refer to similar techniques, sometimes known as logit attribution. This commonly employed technique involves using an embedding matrix to project the hidden representation from different parts of the model into the vocabulary space. By doing so, we obtain a normalized distribution over the token space for each representation. This distribution tells us what information is encoded in that specific output or components of the model. In the resulting distribution, we focus on the logits of two target tokens. In our example, Google and Apple, since these two tokens are the only two possible final predictions and represent the two mechanisms. We look also at the difference between the logit of the two tokens, as it provides insight directly into the competition between the mechanism and the strength of the two mechanisms. In addition to the logit lens, we employ also attention modification, and this method involves modifying a single entry in the attention pattern of a specific set of heads at inference time. After the modification, we measure how the intervention affects the overall performance of the model. By using this method, we were able to identify and quantify the role of key attention heads in the competition. Now let's look at our results. We analyzed GPT-2 using a top-down approach, starting from a macroscopic view and then moving to a microscopic one. First, from a macroscopic perspective, we observed how information flows across input token position and layers in the residual stream. We measured the logits of the factual token, Apple in our example, and the counterfactual one, Google, separately. Our goal here was to identify in which positions and layers these tokens are encoded. As expected, we found that both tokens are predominantly encoded in the last position and at the final layers of the model, while in the other position and layer the encoded is different. After finding this, after have localized the flows of these two tokens, we move to the intermediate view and we asked where these tokens originated. So, looking at the intermediate view, we investigated which blocks, attention heads or MLP favored one token over the other. On the right of our visualization, we can see the logic difference between the counterfactual and the factual tokens in the output of these two block types. Interestingly, the MLP blocks do not play a strong role in this competition, while among the attention blocks, the last one stands out as the only block that promotes the factual token over the counterfactual one. Zooming in further, we repeated our analysis at the level of individual attention heads. This allowed us to identify a small set of heads that promote the counterfactual copy mechanism, shown in red, while just two heads that promote the factual recall mechanism, shown in blue. We then looked at the attention patterns of these critical heads, and on the right we can see the last row of the attention patterns, which show which tokens the final position attends to. Interestingly, we observe a similar pattern across both types of heads. All the critical heads attend strongly to the attribute position, which contains the counterfactual token. This reveals a fascinating dynamic. The heads that promote the factual mechanism are actually attending to the counterfactual token. These heads are suppressing one mechanism to promote the other. They attend to the counterfactual information, but you use it to reinforce the factual recall mechanism rather than copying the counterfactual token. To further validate our findings, we conducted an intervention experiment and we modified the attention pattern of the blue heads, those promoting factual recall, at inference time, increasing their attention weight to the attribute position. After this modification, we measured the factual accuracy across our dataset. So, starting from a baseline of factual accuracy of just 4% without any modification, our intervention dramatically increased this accuracy to around 50% in both GPT-2 and PIZZA models. It's important to note that we achieved this improvement by modifying only 2 heads in GPT-2 and 3 in PIZZA. This minimal intervention led to a strong increase in factual accuracy. These results not only confirm the critical role of these specific attention heads in mediating the competition, but also demonstrate the potential of targeted intervention to modify the performance in a competitive scenario like this one. In conclusion, we have introduced a novel formulation of competition of mechanisms to interpret how LLMs and the multiple and conflicting mechanisms. Our research revealed that a few localized heads play a crucial role in controlling the strength of the factual mechanism. And looking ahead, additional studies will explore different types of competing mechanisms and how they generalize to even larger models. This is all, and thank you for watching.